All right, let's jump right into today's deep dive. Ready for a roller coaster? Because the news today is a wild ride. We've got economic head scratchers, AI taking the world by storm, and oh yeah, Trump's back with more tariffs.
Sounds like we've got our work cut out for us today.
Buckle up. We've been digging through MarketWatch, CNBC, Investing.com, even went international with the Motley Fool UK, seeking Alpha and Alpha Street, all to break down the biggest market movers and global happenings. What do you say we start with the economy? Sending some mixed signals, wouldn't you say?
It's a bit of a puzzle, yeah.
Jobless claims just hit a 3-month high at 242,000. And to make matters more interesting, the Trump administration's planning more federal job cuts. Not exactly painting a rosy picture, huh?
Yeah, rising jobless claims usually point towards a slowdown. But here's the twist. Durable goods orders are actually up for the third month in a row.
So which way is the economy heading? Up or down?
It's tough to say for sure. It seems businesses are stocking up, maybe trying to get ahead of those tariffs we were just talking about, like they're bracing for impact.
Interesting. Remember those spikes in jobless claims back in 23 and 24? Didn't lead to a recession then.
True, but those federal job cuts add a whole new wrinkle this time around. We'll definitely need to keep a close eye on how things unfold. Speaking of wrinkles, let's talk about those tariffs. Trump's Trade War 2.0, some are calling it.
Keji, right. Big news drop. New tariffs on Mexico and Canada, effective March 4th. And as if that wasn't enough, he's adding a 10% tariff on China on top of the ones from his first term. This is going to be a big deal. What do you think?
This could have ripple effects, not just for companies, but for everyday folks like us.
You think prices on, groceries and stuff could go up?
It's a real possibility. And businesses, especially those relying on imports, they might have to raise prices, maybe even cut jobs to cope with the increased cost.
So it's not just a CEO problem. It could hit everyone's wallet.
Exactly. And on a global scale, this could escalate trade tensions even further. Other countries might retaliate. Could really mess with global supply chains. Imagine the impact on economic growth worldwide. We'll need to watch this very carefully.
This trade war drama is far from over. All right, time to switch gears. Let's talk about something a bit more futuristic. Artificial intelligence. It seems like AI is everywhere you look these days.
And it's moving at lightning speed. Just think about it. Jensen Huang, the CEO of Nvidia, said the computational demands for AI have jumped 100 times since ChatGPT came out. 100 times.
Wow, that's huge. Nvidia must be swimming in cash then, right?
Not quite. They've had strong earnings, but their stock performance hasn't been as stellar. It seems investors are still a bit cautious about the whole AI thing, at least for now.
Maybe they're just waiting to see how it all plays out. It's still early days, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of new developments, Tencent just unveiled their own AI model, claiming it'll outperform all the current slow-thinking ones out there.
Interesting, huh? Yeah, this is a big move. China's throwing their hat into the AI ring. It's turning into a global AI arms race. Every country wants to be on top.
AI is changing the game, that's for sure. But what does it mean for us, the average person? How is AI going to affect our everyday lives?
It's a good question and a big one. AI is rapidly becoming a part of everything, from healthcare and finance to how we get around and even what we watch. It's not hard to imagine a future where AI personalizes your medical treatments, manages your money, and even creates custom entertainment just for you.
That's both exciting and a bit unnerving, right? All this AI development raises some important ethical questions, things we should be discussing now.
Absolutely. AI is here to stay, and we need to be thinking about its impact on jobs, privacy, and even how we interact with each other. This is uncharted territory, and we need to tread carefully.
We'll definitely need to unpack those ideas further, but let's take a quick break first. We'll be back in a flash to dive into some other market-moving news you won't want to miss.
Yeah, it's a Pandora's box, in a way. But hey, let's switch gears for a moment. What's happening in the housing market these days? Seems like it's its own little puzzle.
Totally agree. It's a strange situation. Pending home sales in January hit record lows, like the bottom fell out. But home prices are still high. It makes no sense.
It is a bit of a paradox, isn't it? High prices coupled with rising interest rates have definitely scared away some buyers. Explains the drop in sales for sure, but there just aren't enough homes on the market to really push prices down.
So sellers are holding tight, waiting for things to change.
Exactly, it's a standoff. Meanwhile, some investors are turning to leveraged and inverse ETFs, hoping to make a quick buck in this crazy market.
Leveraged and inverse ETFs, aren't those pretty risky?
They can be, yeah. Definitely not for beginners. Think of them like high-octane fuel for your portfolio. Amplify your gains, but also your losses.
So handle with care. Makes sense. Speaking of risky bets, how about Bitcoin? Standard Chartered's still predicting it'll hit $500,000, even after the recent dips. What do you make of that?
Bitcoin is the wild west of investments. Who knows what'll happen? It's so unpredictable. But, Standard Chartered's not some fly-by-night operation. They clearly think Bitcoin has staying power.
Definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
All right, let's shift gears to something that hits closer to home for millions of Americans: student loans. Seems borrowers are having trouble accessing repayment plans, and this is happening when so many are already struggling to manage their debt. This doesn't sound good.
It's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
If people can't afford to repay their loans, we could see a wave of defaults. That would impact everyone, not just those with loans. We need some creative solutions, and fast.
It's like a domino effect. One part of the economy falters and it ripples outwards. And speaking of potential economic trouble, what about those proposed Medicaid cuts? What impact could those have, especially on seniors?
Medicaid's a lifeline for so many, especially seniors in nursing homes. Cutting funding could be devastating. Think about it. Seniors forced out of nursing homes because of lack of funding. Essential medical services being slashed. We can't let that happen.
It's a scary thought. Medicaid's there for a reason. It's a safety net, especially in uncertain times. Oh, and while we're on the topic of challenges, those California wildfires were just devastating, costing the insurance industry an estimated $40 billion. Makes you wonder, are we doing enough to prepare for these kinds of disasters?
It's a wake-up call. The costs of climate change, both financial and human, are only going to rise. We need to be proactive. Better infrastructure, better disaster preparedness. These are investments we can't afford to ignore.
It's a global issue, and we all need to work together to find solutions. On a more somber note, let's take a moment to acknowledge the passing of Gene Hackman and his wife. He was a true Hollywood icon.
A legend. His films will be enjoyed for generations to come. A true loss.
Absolutely. All right, we've got one more segment left in today's Deep Dive. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with some final thoughts and key takeaways from all this news. We're back for the final stretch. Whew, that was a lot to take in. From a wobbly economy to AI going supersonic and, of course, those new tariffs. Where do we even begin to unpack all of this?
Well, let's try to zoom out and make sense of it all.
Sounds like a plan. First up, that economic puzzle we were talking about. Jobless claims are up, but so are durable goods orders. It's confusing, to say the least. What should our listeners be focusing on here?
The key takeaway is that things are uncertain right now. The economy is sending mixed signals, and it's tough to predict which way it'll swing next. We might see a slowdown, or we might see continued growth. The next few months will be crucial. My advice, stay informed, keep an eye on the economic reports, and be prepared for anything.
Good advice. Flexibility is key in these unpredictable times. All right, let's talk tariffs. Trump's trade war 2.0, as some are calling it. New tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China. This could have a ripple effect on everyone, right?
Absolutely. We could see prices go up on all sorts of things, everything from groceries to cars. Businesses that rely on imports are going to be hit hard. They'll have to raise prices or cut jobs to cope. And there's a risk of a full-blown global trade war. That could disrupt supply chains and hurt economies worldwide. It's a complicated situation with potentially huge consequences.
Yeah, this trade war thing is a bit of a nail-biter. Okay, let's shift gears to something a little more futuristic. AI is everywhere these days. Nvidia's CEO is talking about skyrocketing demand, Tencent's got a new AI model, and analysts are still super bullish on the sector. What's the takeaway for investors? Is this the next big thing?
AI is definitely a game changer. It has the potential to revolutionize so many industries, and it's already starting to impact our daily lives. But it's important to be realistic, too. AI is still in its early stages, and there are a lot of unknowns. The ethical and societal implications are huge, and we need to be having those conversations now.
Right. It's not just about profits, it's about the kind of future we're creating. So with all this uncertainty in the air, what's your advice for navigating the markets?
I'd say the same advice applies as always. Diversify, do your research, and don't put all your eggs in one basket. Understand the risks, and don't be afraid to seek advice from financial experts. Knowledge is your best defense against market volatility.
Wise words. Well, folks, that wraps up our deep dive for today. We've covered a lot of ground, from economic jitters to the AI explosion and everything in between. The world is a complex and constantly changing place, and staying informed is the best way to navigate these uncertain times. We'll be back tomorrow with a fresh take on the news that matters most. Until then, stay curious, keep asking questions, and thanks for joining us on the deep dive.